Faster than light. Earth's discovery stunned every empire in the galaxy. Ethan Miller sat alone in the quiet observation room, staring at the screens filled with lines of numbers and signals from deep space. It was late, and the usual hum of the machines seemed louder in the stillness. The rest of the observatory staff had gone home hours ago. Ethan rubbed his tired eyes and focused on a series of signals coming from a star system far beyond what anyone had studied in detail. Something about the pattern made his stomach tighten with curiosity and excitement. He had spent years studying signals from space. Most of them were random noise, echoes of distant stars, or the normal chatter of civilizations light years away. But this one was different. There was a rhythm, a repeating structure, almost like someone was trying to speak. Ethan leaned closer to the screen, his fingers tracing the lines of code. "Hello," he whispered to himself, though he knew no one could hear him. He called over to Lila Johnson, who was still in the main lab working on another project. "Lila, can you come here for a moment?" Lila pushed her chair back and walked over. She was younger than Ethan by a few years, but sharp and quick-minded. She wore her hair tied back and her lab coat slightly wrinkled from the day's work. "What is it?" she asked, peering over his shoulder at the monitor. I think we've found something new," Ethan said. "Look at this signal. It's not random. It has a structure. I think it might be instructions, like a design of some kind." Lila frowned, her eyes scanning the lines on the screen. "A design? For what?" Ethan shook his head. "I don't know yet. But it's fast. Faster than anything humans have ever made. It might be faster than light travel." Lila froze. "Faster than light? You mean we might actually have a chance to go anywhere in the galaxy?" Ethan nodded, though he felt the weight of the words. If they were wrong, it would be a huge mistake. If they were right, it could change everything. They spent the next few hours examining the signal, running calculations, and trying to understand the meaning. The pattern repeated in a way that seemed impossible. It was as if someone or something had encoded instructions for a technology far beyond what Earth had ever created. Every new line of the code made their excitement grow, but it also made them nervous. They knew the world might not be ready for this kind of discovery. By the early morning, they had convinced themselves that it was real. It was not a random signal, not a natural occurrence. It was a message, a blueprint for something incredible. They rushed to the observatory director, George Benson, an older man with gray hair and a calm demeanor. "George, you have to see this," Ethan said, trying to keep his voice steady. George looked over the data carefully, adjusting his glasses. He was silent for a long time. "If this is real," he said finally, "it could change humanity's place in the galaxy. But it could also be dangerous. We need to be careful." Lila nodded. "We know, but we can't ignore it. We have to try to understand it. We have to see if it works." George sighed, but gave his approval. "All right, start the preparations. But keep it quiet for now. We don't want everyone panicking until we know what we're dealing with." For the next few weeks, the observatory became a hive of activity. Engineers, scientists, and programmers worked tirelessly to understand the signal. The data they received suggested a propulsion system that could push a ship faster than the speed of light. It was beyond anything humanity had ever achieved. Ethan worked closely with Lila to build a small prototype. They were joined by Ryan Carter, a talented pilot with nerves of steel. Ryan was skeptical at first. "Faster than light? You're talking about breaking the laws of physics," he said one day during a discussion. Ethan smiled. "Maybe not breaking them, just finding a way around the limits we thought existed." Ryan shook his head, but agreed to help. He trusted Ethan and Lila, and he was curious enough to want to be part of something historic. As the prototype neared completion, excitement grew. The ship was small, just enough for 3 people, but it was designed to handle the intense speeds suggested by the signal. Every part was carefully tested. Every calculation was triple-checked. Ethan could hardly sleep at night, thinking about what might happen when they finally tested it. Finally, the day came. The Aurora, as they had named the ship, stood ready on the launch pad. Ethan, Lila, and Ryan climbed inside, their hearts pounding with a mix of fear and anticipation. Outside, George Benson watched nervously, along with a few other officials who had been allowed to witness the test. "Remember," George said, "this is a test. No one knows if it will work. Be careful." Ethan nodded. We will. Let's do this. The engines roared to life. The Aurora lifted off the ground smoothly, gliding into the sky. Ethan's hands were steady on the controls, but his mind raced. Lila monitored the readings, her eyes wide with concentration. Ryan felt the familiar thrill of flying, but this was unlike any flight he had experienced before. Initiating FTL jump in 3, 2, 1. Ethan said, pressing the final sequence. The stars outside the ship blurred. Space twisted and bent around them. Colors shifted in impossible ways, and a strange feeling of weightlessness and stretching filled the cabin. Lila gasped. It's working. Ryan grinned, holding tightly to his seat. I can't believe this. We're actually moving faster than light. For a few moments, they were silent, lost in the wonder of what they had achieved. Then, the sensors picked up something unexpected, a large object moving in the distance. It appeared to be an abandoned alien ship, massive and unfamiliar, floating in the emptiness of space. Ethan's voice trembled with awe. Look at that. Someone else has been here before us. Lila leaned closer to the screen. The technology inside could be incredible. We have to investigate. They approached the alien vessel carefully. Its hull was scarred but still intact. Inside, they found advanced machinery, instruments, and markings they did not recognize. It was clear that this ship had traveled farther than any human or known alien civilization. There were signs of life, but no living beings remained. Just the echoes of a past that had reached into the void of space. This could teach us so much, Ethan whispered. We need to bring back what we can. They took samples, scanned the ship, and recorded every detail. The data alone would be enough to advance humanity's knowledge by decades, perhaps centuries. As the Aurora prepared to return to Earth, a quiet excitement filled the cabin. They had done the impossible. They had traveled faster than light. They had found proof that humans could compete with the greatest mysteries of the galaxy. When they landed, the observatory staff rushed to greet them. Ethan, Lila, and Ryan stepped out of the ship, their faces shining with a mix of relief and joy. The data they brought back would change everything. George Benson shook his head in amazement. I don't know if the world is ready for this, he said. But it doesn't matter. Humanity just crossed a line that no one thought possible. Ethan smiled at Lila and Ryan. We just opened the door. The galaxy is waiting. And Earth is going to surprise everyone. As the sun rose over the observatory, the three of them stood together, looking at the sky. They knew this was only the beginning. There would be more discoveries, more challenges, and more danger. But they also knew that humanity had taken its first true step into the stars. Somewhere far beyond, other civilizations would soon notice. And when they did, they would learn that Earth was no longer a small, unimportant planet. It was a place of daring, courage, and unbreakable spirit. A place that could move faster than light. Ethan looked at the data again, thinking of the endless possibilities ahead. Lila tapped his shoulder. Are you ready for what comes next? He nodded. I think the galaxy isn't ready for us either. The three of them laughed softly, their hearts full of hope and excitement. Humanity had awakened. And nothing in the universe would ever see Earth the same way again. The Aurora had returned to Earth, but Ethan Miller, Lila Johnson, and Ryan Carter could not rest. The excitement of their first faster-than-light flight was still fresh, but it came with a new kind of pressure. The world now expected results. The data from the alien vessel was astonishing, and everyone wanted to know what it meant. At the observatory, Ethan and Lila worked tirelessly. Scientists and engineers crowded the lab, examining every detail from the alien ship. Ryan spent hours in the simulator, practicing maneuvers and thinking about what it would mean to fly farther and faster than anyone in human history. We need a bigger ship, Lila said one morning, staring at the schematics. Aurora was enough for the test, but to explore other systems safely, we need a vessel built for long trips. Ethan nodded. I agree. And we need to integrate the technology we recovered from the alien ship. If we can understand it, we can make Earth's FTL capability even faster and safer. The project grew quickly. Earth's space program, once slow and cautious, now moved with a sense of urgency. Governments provided resources, engineers designed new systems, and scientists worked day and night. The new ship was larger, more advanced, and equipped with better life support, shields, and navigation systems. Ryan ran simulations of the ship, testing every possible scenario. "I still can't believe we're going to try this for real," he said to Ethan. "Flying into uncharted space, faster than light. We're going where no human has ever been." Ethan smiled. "Exactly. That's why we do it." The crew was small but skilled. Ethan would be the chief scientist, Lila the navigator, and Ryan the pilot. They also added a few more specialists for the first extended mission: Sophie Reed, a communications expert, and Lucas Grant, a young engineer with a talent for repairing almost anything. The day of the first official FTL mission came. The new ship, named Pioneer, stood ready on the launch pad. News of the mission was kept quiet from the public. Only a select group of officials and scientists watched as the crew boarded the vessel. "Remember," Ethan said as they strapped into their seats, "we don't know what we'll find out there. Stay alert and stay calm." Ryan started the engines. The Pioneer lifted smoothly from the ground, gliding into the sky. The atmosphere fell away, and the stars filled the viewports. Lila monitored the readings carefully. "All systems stable. We're ready for FTL jump." Ethan pressed the sequence, and the stars outside stretched into long lines of light. The sensation of movement, unlike anything they had ever felt, washed over them. The crew held tight as space itself seemed to bend around the ship. When the ship emerged from the jump, they were in a star system far beyond human charts. A bright sun hung in the sky, and several planets orbited it. The instruments detected no signs of civilization, but there were strange energy readings from one of the planets. "Let's start with a scan," Lila said, her fingers flying over the console. "We need to know what's there before we land." The scanners revealed ruins on the surface of the planet. Large structures, abandoned and broken, hinted at a civilization that had once been advanced. Ethan's eyes widened. Another alien civilization, but long gone. Ryan steered the ship closer. "We need to be careful. We don't know why it's abandoned. There could be hazards." They landed near one of the structures. The air was thin but breathable. The ruins were massive, made of metal and stone that seemed stronger than anything on Earth. Strange symbols covered the walls, glowing faintly. Ethan and Lila explored the site while Ryan and Lucas stayed near the ship. Sophie recorded everything. The ruins contained advanced machinery, some still partially working. They found devices that could manipulate energy, communicate over light years, and store enormous amounts of information. "This is incredible," Ethan said. "Think of what we can learn here. This technology, it could change everything on Earth." Lila nodded. "We have to study it carefully. We can't rush. We need to understand it fully." As they examined the ruins, they noticed a strange pattern in the energy readings. It seemed like the planet itself was reacting to their presence. A low hum vibrated through the ground. The symbols on the walls pulsed faintly, almost like a heartbeat. Ryan frowned. "Do you think it's a trap?" Ethan shook his head. "I don't think so. It's more like the planet is alive in some way. We need to be cautious, but this could be a chance to learn how this civilization worked." They collected samples and data, careful not to damage anything. The discoveries were astonishing. Materials stronger than steel but lighter than aluminum, energy sources far more powerful than anything on Earth, and machines that seemed to anticipate their movements. After several hours, the crew returned to the Pioneer. They had enough information to start research back on Earth, but they agreed to continue exploring other planets in the system before returning home. The next stop revealed more surprises. A small moon contained remnants of a laboratory. Holographic images flickered to life when the crew approached, showing beings that looked humanoid but taller and thinner. The holograms displayed experiments, star maps, and devices that humans could only dream of building. "This technology is centuries ahead of us," Lila said quietly. "We're seeing what these aliens could do before they disappeared." Ethan nodded. "And if we can understand even a small part of this, Earth will be ready for anything. We have to take it slowly, but we're learning faster than any civilization ever has." While exploring, they detected something unexpected: a small automated drone, seemingly ancient, moving across the moon's surface. It approached them, scanning and recording. The crew watched in silence as it examined them, then retreated into the distance. Maybe it's just a remnant of their systems, Ryan said. Or maybe it's still active for a reason we don't understand. Ethan frowned. Whatever it is, it's proof that we're not entirely alone. Even abandoned civilizations leave traces. We have to respect it. But we also have an opportunity to learn more than anyone else has. After completing their exploration, the Pioneer prepared for the jump back to Earth. The crew felt a mixture of excitement and relief. They had seen wonders that no human had seen before, and they had returned safely. Back on Earth, the discoveries caused a stir among the scientific community. Teams were organized to study the materials, replicate the devices, and understand the alien technology. Humanity had taken its first true steps toward becoming a spacefaring civilization. Ethan, Lila, and Ryan were celebrated as pioneers, but they remained focused. They knew the galaxy was vast and full of mysteries. Some might be dangerous, and not all civilizations would welcome humans into their territory. Earth is no longer just a small planet, Ethan said one evening, looking at the stars from the observatory. We've proven that we can reach out and touch the galaxy. But we have to be careful. We need to be smart, cautious, and ready for whatever comes next. Lila nodded. And we will. We've seen what's out there. We've learned that humans can think, adapt, and survive. That's our strength. Ryan smiled. And our courage. No one thought Earth could do what we just did. But we did it. And we'll keep doing it. As the sun rose over the planet, the crew of the Pioneer prepared for their next mission. They would explore more star systems, search for civilizations, and collect knowledge. Humanity had awakened to the possibilities of the galaxy, and there was no turning back. Somewhere in the stars, other civilizations were beginning to notice the sudden activity from Earth. Ships moved quietly in distant sectors, sensors tuned to pick up any unusual signals. The galaxy had always thought of Earth as insignificant. That assumption was about to change. Ethan looked at the data on his tablet, Lila reviewed the maps, and Ryan checked the ship systems. All of them knew the same thing. The next jump would take them even further. The next discoveries could bring allies, knowledge, or danger. But one thing was certain. Humanity had proven it could move faster than light. And the galaxy would never see them the same way again. The success of the Pioneers' mission spread quietly among the scientific teams on Earth. Ethan Miller, Lila Johnson, and Ryan Carter continued to study the alien technology, but they all knew that the galaxy was much larger than anything humanity had imagined. The maps they had collected showed hundreds of star systems, many with planets that might support life. Some even showed signs of intelligent civilizations. Ethan gathered the team one morning in the lab. Sophie Reed and Lucas Grant were with them, along with a few new specialists brought in for this phase of exploration. We have to go further, Ethan said, pointing at the star charts. We've seen what's nearby. Now it's time to reach out. There are other civilizations out there, and it's time we meet them. Lila nodded. We should be careful. We don't know if these civilizations are friendly or hostile, but we also can't hide. Humanity has taken its first steps into the galaxy, and now we have to see what's really out there. Ryan ran his fingers over the control panel of the Pioneer. I'm ready for anything. Just tell me where to go. The team planned the next mission carefully. They chose a system that seemed promising, planets with breathable atmospheres, and energy readings that suggested active civilizations. They studied the alien ruins they had discovered earlier to prepare for potential communication methods. When the day came, the Pioneer lifted off smoothly. The engines hummed with power, and soon the stars stretched into lines as the ship jumped faster than light. The sensation never got easier. Every jump reminded them that they were moving in ways no human had experienced before. When the ship arrived, they were greeted by a sight that took their breath away. A massive fleet of alien ships hovered near a planet. The ships were sleek, metallic, and unlike anything humans had designed. Their movements were precise, almost like a choreographed dance. Lila's eyes widened. They've noticed us. They're watching our jump signature. We need to be careful. Ethan nodded. Keep calm. We are not here to attack. We need to show them we come in peace. They activated the Pioneer's communication system and sent a simple, universal greeting. Symbols and sounds were transmitted, designed to show intelligence without aggression. For a tense moment, nothing happened. Then, a single alien ship separated from the fleet and approached. The alien vessel landed gently on a nearby plain. A small group of beings emerged. They were taller than humans, with elongated limbs and glowing eyes. Their skin was a pale blue, and they moved with grace and precision. One of the beings stepped forward. It raised a hand in a gesture that seemed to be a greeting. Ethan took a careful step forward. "We come in peace," he said aloud, though he knew the aliens could not hear human speech. He hoped they would understand through the symbols displayed on the Pioneer's communicator. The aliens' eyes glowed brighter. A soft sound emitted from their bodies, and the symbols on the Pioneer's screen shifted. It was a language, unlike anything humans had known, but the pattern suggested they understood the gesture of peace. Lila studied the screen. "They are responding. I think they want to communicate." Ethan nodded. "We need to be clear. We are explorers. We want knowledge. We do not want conflict." Over the next hours, the aliens and the humans exchanged messages using the translator systems and symbols. The aliens, who called themselves the Xylar, were curious about Earth. They had observed signals from the planet for decades, but had not contacted humanity before. "We are surprised," Lila said, as she watched the data stream. "They thought we were primitive. They didn't expect humans to have faster-than-light travel already." Ethan smiled. "That's good for us. They will respect us more if we show intelligence and caution." The Xylar offered to show the humans their technology and history. They guided the Pioneer to a massive orbital station above their planet. The station was like nothing humans had ever seen. It was enormous, sleek, and filled with strange energy sources and machinery. The crew of the Pioneer walked carefully, awed by the scale and detail. Kalara, the Xylar diplomat, greeted them. She spoke slowly, using a translator device. "Humans, you have done what few species achieve. You travel faster than light. You survive. You learn. That is impressive." Ethan bowed slightly. "Thank you. We are eager to learn from you. We have much to understand about the galaxy." Kalara's eyes glowed faintly. "You are brave. You act with wisdom, but also with caution. That balance is rare. Many civilizations would rush without thought. You think first. That is why we will share knowledge with you." Over the next days, the Pioneer crew studied Xylar technology and culture. They learned about energy sources, starship construction, and methods of communication across vast distances. They also learned about the Orcs Empire, a militaristic civilization that controlled many sectors and would see humanity as a potential threat. Ethan felt a chill as he listened to the warnings. "We need to be careful. The Orcs might act if they know humans have FTL technology." Lila nodded. "But we can't hide. We need allies. The Xylar are smart and peaceful. We can work with them to protect Earth if necessary." Ryan leaned back, watching the stars through the station's windows. "It's strange to think that just weeks ago, humans couldn't leave the solar system. Now we're here, in a different civilization's home." Sophie smiled. "And we're making friends, not enemies. That's something humans don't always do well." Kalara invited the crew to a council meeting with the Xylar leaders. The meeting was formal but welcoming. Humans were shown holographic maps of the galaxy, star systems, and known civilizations. Ethan was amazed at the level of detail. "They know everything," he whispered to Lila. "Every system, every fleet. And they still think humans can learn and contribute." Lila smiled. "That's the chance we've been waiting for. If we show them intelligence, courage, and cooperation, humans will earn respect." During the meeting, Kalara also explained Xylar history. Their civilization had survived wars, natural disasters, and internal struggles, but they had thrived because of careful planning, diplomacy, and intelligence. The crew realized that humans had similar strengths, though they had never been tested on a galactic scale. Ethan asked, "What about the Orcs? How powerful are they?" Kalara's glow dimmed slightly. "They control hundreds of systems. They are strong, but not invincible. They underestimate smaller civilizations. That could work in your favor if you are wise." Ryan frowned. "So we're talking about potential war just because we're new and different?" Kalara shook her head. "Not necessarily war, but caution is needed. Allies help. Knowledge helps. And humans have shown both in small measures." That is why you are here. To learn and prepare. The humans spent several more days learning from the Xyler. They were shown starship designs, energy technology, and even methods of communication that worked across light years without delay. The crew realized that with this knowledge, Earth could advance quickly, perhaps faster than any other civilization in history. One evening, as the crew looked at the stars from the Xyler station, Ethan spoke quietly. We've come so far in such a short time. Humans never thought we could leave our solar system. And now we're here, meeting aliens, learning their secrets. Lila nodded. And we're only beginning. The galaxy is huge, full of civilizations, mysteries, and dangers. But we have courage, intelligence, and curiosity. That is our strength. Ryan grinned. And faster than light travel. That counts for a lot too. Sophie laughed. We've made friends, learned technology, and survived space travel that no human thought possible. Earth has changed in just weeks. Ethan looked out at the distant stars, thinking of what lay ahead. We need to return to Earth eventually, share what we've learned, and prepare our people. But we also need to explore further. There is more knowledge, more opportunities, and more danger out there. We can't ignore it. Lucas added, and we can't do it alone. The Xyler are allies. We have to build relationships, learn diplomacy, and show that humans are worthy of respect. Kalara approached them quietly. Humans, you have taken the first steps. But the galaxy watches. Some will welcome you. Others will challenge you. Be brave. Be wise. And your place among the stars will grow. The crew of the Pioneer nodded, understanding the weight of her words. Humanity had reached out to the stars, made contact with an alien civilization, and learned that the galaxy was vast, complex, and full of challenges. But they had also learned that humans were capable of intelligence, courage, and cooperation on a scale that no one had expected. As the Pioneer prepared for the journey back to Earth, the crew felt a sense of purpose. They had seen what was possible. They had made allies. And they had taken humanity one step closer to becoming a true spacefaring civilization. Somewhere, far across the galaxy, other civilizations were noticing the signals from Earth. They had seen the FTL jump, the arrival of the Pioneer, and the presence of humans among the stars. Many underestimated Earth. That mistake would soon prove costly. Ethan looked at Lila and Ryan. We've done well, but we have to prepare. Knowledge is powerful, but wisdom is more powerful. The galaxy is watching, and we have to show that humans belong here. Lila smiled. Then, let's get ready. We have much to do, and the stars are waiting. Ryan leaned back, feeling the familiar thrill of adventure. I never thought humans could do this. But here we are, and I'm not stopping now. Sophie and Lucas nodded, ready for whatever came next. Humanity had taken its first real step into the galaxy. They had made friends, gained knowledge, and earned respect. But the journey was only beginning. The galaxy was full of wonders, dangers, and possibilities, and Earth was ready to meet them all. Earth had begun to change. Governments and scientists worked non-stop to study the alien technology and improve human faster-than-light travel. News of the Pioneers' missions was still mostly secret, but whispers of Earth's progress had started to reach distant corners of the galaxy. Somewhere far away, the Orcs Empire noticed. The Orcs were a proud and militaristic civilization. They controlled hundreds of star systems and had always looked down on smaller, slower civilizations like Earth. They considered humans insignificant, just another minor species in a galaxy of powerful empires. That assumption was about to be challenged. On a cold metal bridge of an Orcs warship, Commander Varek studied the recent scans. These readings are unusual, he said, his voice low and controlled. A small planet in the Sol system is traveling faster than light. They have ships capable of jumping across the galaxy. This cannot be ignored. His officers looked uneasy. Are you saying they could be a threat, Commander? One asked. Varek's eyes glowed faintly. Not yet. But any civilization capable of FTL travel is potentially dangerous. Prepare a fleet. We will visit this planet and remind them of their place in the galaxy. Back on Earth, Ethan Miller, Lila Johnson, and Ryan Carter were in the lab when the sensors suddenly picked up multiple incoming signals. Ryan's hands flew over the controls. Something's coming. I don't know what, but it's big. Bigger than anything we've seen before. Ethan frowned. It's too fast. It's a fleet. We need to warn Earth Command immediately. Lila activated the communication system. All units, prepare for potential engagement. We don't know their intent. Stay calm and follow protocol. By the time the first Orcs scouts arrived near the solar system, Earth had begun mobilizing its small but growing space fleet. Though they were still developing larger ships, humans now had experience with FTL jumps, advanced shields, and faster weapons thanks to the alien technology they had recovered. Ryan led a small group of human ships out to meet the Orcs scouts. Stay in formation, he said. Remember, we're showing strength, not aggression. But we can't let them underestimate us. Ethan and Lila monitored the fleet's movements from the control center on Earth. They're testing us, Lila said, trying to see what we can do. We have to be smart, not just fast. The first encounter happened near the outer planets of the solar system. The Orcs scouts were larger, more numerous, and heavily armed. But the humans had something the Orcs did not expect: creativity and quick thinking. Ryan maneuvered the human ships through asteroid fields and debris clouds, using the environment to hide and confuse the enemy. Smaller human ships moved unpredictably, dodging attacks and returning fire with precision. Ethan guided them using data from the alien technology. Adjust your shields. Divert energy to the engines. Use the debris to block their sensors, he shouted, his fingers flying over the console. The Orcs commanders were surprised. They had expected an easy intimidation. Instead, humans were agile, clever, and coordinated. Each move seemed to anticipate the enemy, as if they had studied strategy for centuries. After hours of careful engagement, the Orcs scouts retreated. The humans had proven they could defend themselves. It was a small victory, but it was enough to send a message. Earth was not defenseless. Back on the surface, news spread quickly among the government and military leaders. Earth's new FTL technology, combined with strategy and intelligence, had given them a chance against a superior force. Ethan, Lila, and Ryan were called to meet with the president and top advisors. This changes everything, the president said. The Orcs believed we were weak. Now they know we are not. But we cannot underestimate them. We have to prepare for the possibility of a larger attack. Lila nodded. We need more ships, more pilots, and more training. And we need to use the knowledge we gained from the Xyler carefully. We can't reveal everything yet. The Orcs are powerful, but they underestimate creativity and intelligence, Ryan added. And we need to be ready to strike back if they come again. Not recklessly, but smartly. We have the advantage of surprise and speed. They will not expect humans to be so clever. Ethan agreed. We also need to continue exploring and learning. Knowledge is our greatest weapon. If we understand the galaxy, its civilizations, and its technology, we can face any threat. Over the next weeks, Earth worked tirelessly. New ships were built using both human engineering and alien designs. Pilots trained in complex maneuvers, simulations, and rapid jumps through space. Scientists studied the alien data, learning how to enhance engines, shields, and weapons. The Orcs did not wait. Their fleet arrived in force, larger and more organized than the scouts. The humans were ready. Ryan led the first wave, moving through the fleet with precision. Smaller human ships darted around the larger Orcs vessels, avoiding fire and returning accurate shots. Ethan directed the strategy from the command center, coordinating multiple groups across vast distances. Lila monitored enemy movements and calculated the best positions for ambushes. Every decision counted. The battle raged for hours. The Orcs underestimated human ingenuity. Using FTL jumps in unpredictable ways, humans appeared in unexpected locations, striking and disappearing before the enemy could respond. The aliens had more firepower, but humans had something they could not replicate: quick thinking, adaptability, and teamwork. One of the Orcs commanders, Varek, realized too late that humans were more than just primitive fighters. They were clever, courageous, and willing to take risks. The humans used traps, ambushes, and coordinated strikes to force the Orcs fleet into retreat. Back on Earth, People watched the events unfold in awe. Humanity had survived its first major interstellar confrontation. The victory was not absolute, but it was proof that Earth could defend itself against a superior power. Ryan landed the Pioneer near Earth's orbit, his hands trembling from the intensity of the battle. "We did it," he said quietly. "They won't expect us to be this strong next time." Ethan smiled but looked serious. "We survived, but we cannot be complacent. The Orcs will return. We have to continue improving, training, and preparing. This is just the beginning." Lila nodded. "And we have allies. The Xylar will help us. We have knowledge, creativity, and courage on our side. The Orcs might be powerful, but humans are not weak. They forget that intelligence, strategy, and adaptability can beat brute strength." The victory changed humanity. People no longer saw Earth as a small, helpless planet. The scientists, engineers, and pilots who had worked tirelessly were celebrated as heroes. But the crew of the Pioneer remained focused. They knew the galaxy was vast, full of unknown threats, and full of opportunities. Ethan gathered the team again. "We've shown that humans can face a major threat and survive. But we must not stop. The galaxy is watching. We must be ready for what comes next." Ryan grinned. "I thought humans were just starting out. Now we've beaten one of the largest empires in the galaxy at their own game. Feels good, doesn't it?" Lila smiled. "Yes, but this is just the beginning. The Orcs learned about us. Other civilizations will notice too. We have to be ready for alliances, diplomacy, and more challenges. Humans need to be smart, brave, and united." The Pioneer crew prepared for the next mission. They would explore new star systems, continue gathering knowledge, and strengthen Earth's defenses. Humanity had survived its first major test. The galaxy had begun to see that humans were not weak, not insignificant, and not unprepared. Ethan looked at the stars from the command center. "We've come a long way. We've faced fear, uncertainty, and a powerful enemy. But we've survived because we are humans. We think, we adapt, and we fight when necessary. That is our greatest strength." Lila placed a hand on his shoulder. "And we have each other. Together, we will face whatever comes next. The galaxy won't know what hit them." Ryan chuckled softly. "And they'll never underestimate humans again." Sophie and Lucas nodded in agreement. Earth had faced its first major interstellar threat and survived. The humans who had once been seen as weak and primitive had shown courage, intelligence, and skill. As the sun rose over Earth, the planet was no longer just a home for humans. It had become a symbol of hope, courage, and potential in the galaxy. The Orcs Empire had learned a lesson. Humans were not to be ignored. Ethan, Lila, Ryan, Sophie, and Lucas looked to the stars with determination. Humanity had survived its first true test in the galaxy. There would be more battles, more discoveries, and more challenges ahead. But one thing was clear. Humans were no longer a small, weak species. They had proven that courage, intelligence, and unity could rival even the strongest empires. The galaxy would soon learn that Earth was a force to be reckoned with. And the humans who had once only dreamed of the stars were now shaping the future of the cosmos itself. The victory against the Orcs had changed everything. Earth was no longer a hidden, weak planet. Governments, scientists, and civilians all understood that humans had become a force in the galaxy. The Pioneer crew, Ethan Miller, Lila Johnson, Ryan Carter, Sophie Reed, and Lucas Grant, had become heroes, but they remained focused on the future. Earth's leaders gathered to plan the next steps. The planet now had knowledge of alien technology, a growing fleet of FTL ships, and allies in the Xylar civilization. President Daniel Carter addressed the council. "We have survived our first major threat, but the galaxy is vast. Other civilizations will notice us. Some will be friendly, and others may not be. We must prepare for both." Ethan stood nearby, reviewing the star charts. "We can't just defend ourselves. We need to explore, learn, and make alliances. Knowledge and cooperation will protect us as much as weapons." Lila added. "And we must continue improving our technology. The Orcs may strike again, and other empires could be watching. We need to stay ahead." Ryan grinned. "And we will. We're humans. We adapt, We fight when we need to, and we survive. That's what makes us strong. Sophie smiled. And we have allies. The Xylar are helping us. They can teach us things we could never learn alone. Lucas nodded. It's amazing to think about how far we've come in such a short time. Humans once couldn't leave the solar system, and now we are respected across the galaxy. With the Council's support, Earth began a new program to build faster and stronger ships, train more pilots, and expand diplomatic missions. Humans would not just survive, they would thrive. The Pioneer prepared for another journey, this time to visit neighboring systems and establish contact with other civilizations. Ethan, Lila, Ryan, Sophie, and Lucas were eager to lead the mission. The excitement in the crew was mixed with careful planning. They knew that diplomacy and strategy were as important as speed and firepower. As the ship jumped into FTL, the stars stretched into lines of light. The crew marveled at the familiar thrill of the jump, but this time there was a sense of purpose. They were not exploring for curiosity alone. They were carrying the hopes of Earth and the responsibility to show the galaxy that humans could be allies, friends, and protectors. The first planet they reached was in a system that showed signs of civilization. Strange cities glittered under the light of multiple suns. The humans approached carefully, signaling peace. A small fleet of ships responded, welcoming them. These beings, the Virilians, were curious and cautious. Their skin was green, their eyes large and bright, and their movements fluid and precise. Kalara, the Xylar diplomat, accompanied them to assist with translation and guidance. Humans, she said, you have shown courage, intelligence, and adaptability. The Virilians will respect you, but you must continue to act wisely. Ethan bowed slightly. We will. We are here to learn, to share knowledge, and to build alliances. Humanity wishes peace, but we will defend ourselves if needed. The Virilians welcomed the humans and Kalara. Over the next few days, the crew learned about their society, their technology, and their history. Humans were amazed at how many civilizations had risen and fallen across the galaxy. It was clear that survival depended on intelligence, cooperation, and courage, qualities humans had shown in abundance. While studying Virilian technology, Lila noticed something interesting. Their energy systems could be adapted to improve our ships. We could make Earth's fleet faster, stronger, and more efficient. Ethan smiled. Exactly. Every civilization we meet gives us knowledge. Every step forward makes us stronger. Humanity is no longer small or weak. We are learning faster than any species in history. Ryan laughed softly. And we're still alive, still human. I like it. After leaving the Virilian system, the crew returned to Earth with their findings. Scientists immediately began to integrate the new technology into human ships. The fleet grew in number and strength. Training programs expanded, and pilots became more skilled with every mission. The Orcs had not forgotten Earth. They watched from afar, curious and cautious. Their pride was wounded by the failure of their previous attack. But instead of launching another assault, they began to reconsider. Earth was no longer a simple target. Humans had shown creativity, intelligence, courage, and speed. These were qualities the Orcs could not ignore. Ethan, Lila, and Ryan met with Earth's leaders to discuss the next steps. We must continue to grow, Ethan said. But we also have an opportunity. The Orcs respect strength. We can negotiate with them from a position of intelligence and power. If we show them wisdom, we might avoid another war. Lila added, we have allies. The Xylar and the Virilians are willing to help. We can build a coalition. If the Orcs see that humans are respected and connected, they may act cautiously. Ryan nodded. And if they don't, we're ready. Humans have proven we can handle ourselves against the strongest empires in the galaxy. The first Interstellar Council meeting was called. Representatives from the Xylar, Virilians, and other nearby civilizations gathered to discuss peace, trade, and cooperation. Earth's delegates, including Ethan, Lila, and Ryan, presented humanity's case. They spoke of courage, creativity, and the willingness to cooperate. The other civilizations listened carefully. They had watched Earth grow from a quiet, minor planet into a species capable of FTL travel, exploration, and defense. Humans had survived attacks, learned technology from alien ruins, and established alliances with multiple civilizations. One Xyler leader spoke. Humans have acted wisely. They are capable, courageous, and intelligent. They deserve respect and a place among the galaxy's civilizations. The council nodded. Trade agreements were signed. Alliances were formed. Humans were welcomed as equals, not just newcomers. Earth had entered the galactic stage, respected and acknowledged. Back on Earth, celebrations were quiet but meaningful. People knew that humanity had achieved something incredible. The pioneer crew, standing together under the stars, reflected on their journey. Ethan spoke first. We've seen wonders, faced dangers, and learned so much. But this is only the beginning. Humanity has a place in the galaxy, and we must continue to grow and explore. Lila smiled. We've learned that intelligence, courage, and cooperation are as powerful as any weapon. Humans have proven themselves. We have earned our place. Ryan laughed. And faster than light travel. Don't forget that. No one else has done what we've done so quickly. Sophie nodded. We've made allies, gained knowledge, and survived challenges that would have defeated other civilizations. Humanity is ready for the next step. Lucas added, and we've done it together. That's our greatest strength. Humans work as a team. We think, adapt, and act. That's why we succeed. The pioneer crew prepared for their next mission, knowing the galaxy was full of unknowns. Some systems remained unexplored, some civilizations still unknown, and some dangers still lurking. But humanity was no longer weak. Humans had proven they could face the greatest challenges, survive, and thrive. From the command center on Earth, Ethan looked at the star charts. The galaxy is vast, and there are many challenges ahead. But humanity has shown that we can meet them. We have courage, intelligence, allies, and the drive to succeed. Lila joined him, watching the stars. And we will. Humans are adaptable, brave, and curious. That combination makes us unstoppable. Ryan leaned against the console, smiling. We've gone from a small planet to a respected civilization in a few months. Imagine what we can do in the years to come. Sophie added, the galaxy has seen humanity rise. Other civilizations will remember this. And we will continue to grow, explore, and protect our home. Lucas nodded. We've earned respect, not through power alone, but through courage, intelligence, and unity. That is the greatest strength of humanity. As the sun rose over Earth, the planet shone brighter in the galaxy than it ever had. Humans had stepped into the stars, not as a weak species, but as a civilization capable of shaping the future of the cosmos. The galaxy had learned a new truth. Earth was no longer a minor world. It was a place of courage, intelligence, and determination. A place that could face any challenge, explore any star system, and stand tall among the greatest civilizations in the galaxy. Ethan, Lila, Ryan, Sophie, and Lucas looked to the sky, knowing that the journey was far from over. There would be more discoveries, more challenges, and more opportunities to show what humans could achieve. But one thing was certain. Humanity had proven itself. Earth had awakened. The galaxy would never see it the same way again. And humanity, united and determined, would continue to rise faster than light.